Undertale is a game that's surprisingly very difficult to sell to people, and it shouldn't be because it's bloody wonderful. But I get it, it's got this extremely basic visual style, and the thing you have to say to people is, oh, it's funny. It's another one of these charming little indie games that's funny and surprising and da-da-da-da-da-da. And look, a lot of these games are great, but there's also a tendency for now so many games to be described with the same set of 4 adjectives that people go, I tried that other one, it wasn't so good. But no, listen, Undertale is different. Why? Well, it's kind of hard to say. Oh, Matt, you're just as bad as everyone else. This is a video that's going to contain spoilers. If you're the sort of person that jumps around videos willy-nilly, then look out for the red triangle. If there's a red triangle there, second half of the video means it's going to be full of spoilers. Don't watch it. And if you're the sort of person who jumps around through videos and so hasn't seen this warning, then honestly, just be a better person. Watch things in chronological order. It's not that difficult. First up, Undertale is funny, and it's funny because it defies expectations on a number of levels. Yes, it's sort of a simple JRPG, but no, it isn't. You've hardly got any random encounters, and the combat is not like normal combat. It's basically kind of a bullet hell dodge 'em up, and that's kind of frustrating in many ways because it's the sort of game that everybody should play, and yet it's also quite difficult unless you've got the specific skill set that requires you to dodge bullets in a tiny little ship. But you've also got the central gimmick of the fact that you don't have to kill anything. You go through the whole game without killing a single creature, and I recommend you do that because then you get really, really good ending. So don't kill anything. But if you do kill stuff, then interestingly, it isn't even just an option. It's going to make you feel quite bad. It's a game full of nice creatures, misunderstood creatures, teenage creatures who just want to be liked. And if you go around murdering all of them, then it's going to make you feel like a bad person because you are a bad person. Yes, you are. And the fact that you feel sorry for the monsters isn't just twee bollocks. It's not trying to pull at your heartstrings in an uninteresting way. It's because the world it creates is strangely melancholic and human. It's a world full of real characters. Characters that are all just a little bit sad. It's heartwarming. It's bloody good. It's also worth shouting from the rooftops that this game has one of the best soundtracks I've ever in anything. Ever. It's just a joy to play through, although it does get frustrating when you get stuck on puzzles that you can't work out. Effectively, if you don't go through the game and kill everything, you have to work out how to beat the bosses without hurting them, and sometimes that can be a real pain. But it's a game that you simply must play. Why? I can't really tell you. It's just unusual, different, and very exciting. And now we're going to have to get into spoilers. I'm sorry, you need to play it. Just trust us, all right? Just trust us. And really, if you haven't played the game already, don't watch this. It's just going to... All right, fine, let's go. So now that the kids have been put to bed, it's time to talk serious. This, Undertale, this is what PC games are about. It's not about 120 frames per second upscaling and mouse and keyboard snooty tooty fruity. It's about this. It's a game which harnesses the platform of the PC in a fascinating way. And it's hugely appropriate that the antagonist in this game is a flower. Undertale gets its roots into your system in a way that would be hugely difficult to achieve within a console framework. It's a game that keeps data on your system even if you uninstall the game. I mean, that's the exact sort of sentence that has most video game enthusiasts repeatedly sending death threats to EA. Here, it isn't an infringement on your private space and property, although I guess it sort of maybe is. It's a kind of dark magic that you can't help but applaud. You want to reset the game, you want to remove things, but you can't, because Undertale has got its roots into your PC. And I'm sure it would be possible to do something similar on Xbox or PlayStation, but I wouldn't want to be the person having that conversation with the platform owners. Underneath the game's veneer of silly jokes and mild melancholy, there's a game that's judging you for everything you do, taking notes on the decisions that you make, not as a callback to make you guilty later, but for the moment when you decide that actually you want to erase those bad decisions. Most people discover this mechanic with Toriel, the game's first tough encounter kind of boss. You've only been playing for about half an hour, and immediately after you kill this poor woman, you're taunted about it by that awful flower. And it's natural that at this point many people would choose to go back. But those who did, myself included, were in for a bit of a shock. You see, Undertale remembered. And sure, lots of games remember these days. You decided to give the racist man crackers. Is that what you did? Well, we'll remember that. What are you, a racist? Or do you just not like crackers? Jesus. But the difference with Undertale is that these decisions aren't throwaway. It isn't a game of consequence tennis where you knock a ball away in one direction, sure that at some point that ball will return, which finishes the play. In Undertale, you hit the ball right over the fence, and your neighbour is being a dick, and you can't get the ball back. It's gone. The game remembers that you killed somebody, and it'll happily let you play through the game again and again and decide on previous playthroughs not to kill them, but it will never let you forget that it knows. Save from going through the depths of your PC and gutting out the files it's hidden all this stuff in, the consequences of your actions are cooked into the very fabric of the game. It doesn't allow you to escape responsibility for these choices in the way that most video games just consistently do. Sure, you play through the game and you make all the good choices, you're a good person, but afterwards, you'll maybe have a go at being evil? Of course, that's not you, is it? No, that second playthrough is just a bit of fun. Heaven forbid that you're actually a person that would choose to do those things as part of your real playthrough. No. You'll return like a tourist in the cover of night and pretend that this second wave of being a nasty person was just a bit of silly experimentation. The true playthrough, the one that we hold in our heart, no, we were good. We were good people. But no, you see, this isn't an encounter that you can go home, feel a bit rough about, but then just wash away in the shower. Anything you do in this game, you chose to do. And UnderTale is a game that makes consistent violence feel so nasty that the game has no qualms with judging those who decide to go through with it, to consistently hurt again and again and again. And to begin with, it's a standard RPG. You kill enemies, you level up, fun. But before long, people are pleading for their life, terrified of the monster that you've become. If you finish the game by killing everything, then it's impossible to then get the proper pacifist ending. Your soul has been forever branded by the choices that you made, and the game won't let you simply shrug off this evil so you can fix the world and make yourself feel better. It's done. Save files in UnderTale are forever tainted, and there are some things that you can just never come back from. Now, this idea of a save file as a reality-bending mechanic isn't new. Sadly, a bit rubbish game Consortium led with an amazing idea. You sat at your computer, in your pants, yes you, I'm talking to you, were a person playing this game, controlling the character in the game via some sort of interdimensional uplink program. Different save files with different parallel dimensions, making everything you did part of the story's canon somewhere, sort of. It was weird, and it laid it on kind of heavy with this idea that if you messed up and got people killed during a playthrough and then went back and loaded another game, you were just going to a different reality, and those people who died were actually dead somewhere. Stepping away from that to a different save file would simply leave that world to carry on somehow with the mess that you'd made. But what I really love about UnderTale, and what I think makes it a truly special game, is that it doesn't entirely hinge on chin-strokey concepts in the same way that Consortium did. Because really, when it boils down to it, a game that looks like a JRPG but isn't a JRPG ends up telling a pretty classic JRPG-style tale. Yeah, I hope you're still with me. Everyone still with me? Okay, good. I mean, the story here was that you got a king and a queen, and their children, a monster and a boy, both died tragically and left the whole kingdom bereft. But their souls quietly lived on, one of them inhabiting a soulless flower, and because of that becoming a force driven by weirdly kind of apathetic, power-driven hatred and evil. And the other soul, the human soul, well, the other soul for some reason is you. Because although UnderTale often feels like it's just breaking the fourth wall and talking constantly just to you as the player, it kind of isn't. The characters in the game who know what the deal is aren't talking to the human walking through the game, the little character on the screen. They're talking to the soul of the human child who died. And the knowingly daft Sans character, who seems strangely detached from your choices in the game, kind of does so because he knows what's happening. UnderTale is Groundhog Day, but Bill Murray isn't the only one that knows that. And the reason that this weird time loop exists isn't really clear, and there's a ton of theorizing already on the net regarding barely mentioned characters and very weird clues. But even without diving in and demanding concrete answers, this tale of two souls trapped in a loop which is defined at the point at which their actions are set to change the outcome of the universe. Is this a tale of forgiveness? Is this a tale of revenge? Is the sort of fuzzy, poetic, dramatic fluff that makes JRPG stories so absolutely enjoyable. The trick here, and the one that makes people feel like this is a game which is directly talking to you as a player and breaking the fourth wall, is that you've been given control of a character that is so persistent, and not in terms of not willing to give up, but in terms of You exist outside of this reality in a way which is unusual. You aren't playing as one character. You're playing as a vagrant soul, offered infinite possibilities, but trapped in this world where your choices strangely can't change a thing. The only power you have in Undertale is the choice of whether or not to start this loop over. This reality will always exist, and this reality can never exist definitely, because you always have the power to return and wipe it and start it again. And that's really the only choice you get to make in Undertale. Otherwise, this thing just exists infinitely. These two souls trapped. And this is kind of heavy, weird stuff that those who've played the game will know only really surfaces in the last few hours of the game, and it's mind-blowing. But it gives the whole game a completely different feel. Sans, as a character, knows all of this. He knows the deal, and he's known it for a long time, which is kind of why he's just so chill. So that was Undertale. It's an incredible piece of work that's incredibly hard to explain to people without going into any of this detail, and my god, you can't go into this detail. Some of the stuff that happened, the fact that the game at one point crashes the game on purpose so that when you load it up again, the game appears different and broken. It's taken control. It's just a wonderful little piece of work. And again, something that could only really, at this point in time, exist on the PC. It's a stunning game that just seems to be something light and funny, but turns out to be an incredible simulator of what it might be like to be a sad ghost trapped in a machine. It's the smartest PC game in years, and you know, I tell you that you really need to play it at this point, but if you've watched this and you haven't played it, then you shouldn't. What if you had? Yeah, no, people don't have time to play everything. I get it, but really? Well, thanks very much for watching anyway. Even if you have just ruined it, you've ruined your dinner. Go to bed. Just go to bed. Thanks for watching my fun little video about Undertale. If you've enjoyed it, or you want to talk about Undertale with other people who love it, I know some people who bloody love Undertale. It's the people at coolghosts.net. So if you enjoyed this video, pop over and say hello. And if you really enjoyed it, then you can support Cool Ghosts on patreon.com/coolghosts. And if you didn't enjoy my interpretation of the game's story, then that's fine as well. It's fine. Don't worry about it. Chill out. Have a lovely day. Goodbye.